quite possibly the largest crime in Trump's history has been disclosed. Probably the largest ID theft crime ever in world history has been disclosed. You see, the Social Security Administration's chief data officer resigned back in August. He then goes in front of the Senate to tell them what he discovered when DOGE started accessing people's Social Security information. You see, this guy is Chuck Borges. He is the chief data officer of the Social Security information, and he discloses that at the time of the disclosure that DOGE employees of the Social Security Administration had access to personal data on all Americans, including Social Security numbers, in a cloud environment without any verified security controls, without any standard agency visibility into the use of the data. Even Borges, the chief data officer, did not have this level of data. Among the DOGE employees who apparently have this unfettered access was Edward Constantine, this same individual that had been fired from previous jobs for sharing sensitive data with these computers because the agency officials allegedly do not have oversight over DOGE employees' actions. They cannot know whether these individuals have moved any of the data out of the Social Security Administration, granted access to the data to unauthorized users or private companies, or whether the data has been accessed illicitly. In other words, every single person in this country who has a Social Security number, everybody in the world who has a Social Security number within the United States, your data, this man is saying, who is the chief data officer of the Social Security Administration, is saying your data was completely played with, no verification of any kind. We can't guarantee of anything because this was inside of a cloud that anyone could access. Next. Now, the most important portion of the findings is that they believe that the violations were so bad that they believe that they needed to potentially make new Social Security numbers for everybody, and it violated a very important law, and the Privacy Act. Now, the most important part of the law, now this is the area where people who may have been following DOGE have always wondered, like, what is the law? You see, you have to think, if government employees like this guy who is in charge of the Social Security Administration's data, that man is sitting on top of countless trillions of dollars worth of data that people would pay him anything for. But what was preventing him from doing that? I mean, what was the criminal penalty? Because, like, let's say they disclose my Social Security number. I live in Los Angeles County, right? So it's not just a violation at the federal level, is it? It's also a violation at the California level because it's my data in my state. Well, that's what 18 U.S.C. Code 1030, fraud related to activity in connection with computers. This is the federal law. But this federal law has something that is very unique inside of 18 U.S.C., the letter C, which covers the punishment. And then you go down here to C2. You see, this is where the punishment gets unique. The offense was committed in furtherance of any criminal or tortious act in violation of the Constitution or laws of the United States or of any state. The value of the information obtained exceeded $5,000. In other words, you see, this is why this man who was in charge of the Social Security's data would never violate it. Because let's say if 50,000 people were violated, obviously more than $5,000. How would that person spend his years in prison? Is he only going to spend, like what this law says, 5 years at the federal level? Or is this law suggesting that he's 5 years at the federal level, but then he comes to the state level, to California, and pays for my violation? You get that? He goes federal for 5 years, and then he's going to spend a couple of years in California, and then a couple of years in Nevada, then a couple of years over here, a couple of years over there. It turns into a lifetime in prison. It's why he would never play around with this information, because he would go to prison not just at the federal level, but also at the state level. So the real question that has to be asked is this: can you, as a citizen of whatever state you are in, what should you do? You should contact your local law enforcement or your state law enforcement and tell them that you want to find out as to whether or not what this Chuck Borges and the other whistleblowers are saying as to what happened at the Social Security Administration. Did that disclose your information? Are you in jeopardy? Did Elon Musk and his people commit ID theft with your Social Security number? And is what the Social Security leaders are saying that I need to get a whole new Social Security number right now? Do I need to do that? You should do that. Plus, you should go over and search for the fraud unit at the Social Security Administration and fill out the form. Please look in the description of this video. It's the link to the Senate report on this subject, and you should send that with you or copy key information of it with you to the Social Security Administration's fraud unit. Please do this. Your Social Security information, according to the man who used to be in charge of all the Social Security computers, is saying your data has been breached. That's what he is saying. We need to get to the answer to this. So don't just call the FBI. You can contact your state office, because it's not just a federal crime. It is a federal crime and a state crime. So go to work and let's get this done. And Trump should be impeached for this, effective immediately. Thank you. Because literally every single congressman, every single senator, and all of your staff, your Social Security information may have been breached. Republican or Democrat, it doesn't matter. Trump should be removed if this has even a fraction of this. If he allowed every single all information on the Social Security information computers to be able to be transferred to someone else and no real security to it, then yeah, that person needs to go to prison, because that's ID theft. Let's get to work. Like, share, subscribe.